Hey, some of you have asked about what the mass multiplier settings are, so why don't we explain that in this video. You can find the mass multiplier settings in, obviously, settings here, and it's down at the bottom of all the settings, the punch force adjustment. By default, it's on adjust automatically, and that's a really good thing. What this does, the punch force adjustment, makes it easy for anyone, regardless of what their strength is, to get into the game without having to do a bunch of calibration and have a fun, playable, but also really challenging experience. So the way it works, if we turn it off here, you'll see there's some multipliers here, and it'll take the strongest punch that someone has by watching in the game, in the fight, and then adjust these multipliers so that their strongest punch matches up more or less with a real boxer's power. Now, what it does is, rather than having someone hit a heavy bag, which is not necessarily representative of how you're punching in the game, it watches round by round and calibrates at the end of each round. So why don't we put it on automatically, and we'll get into a round and give it a round's worth of data. Here, I've got it on Outclassed. And I'm going to do this round really light, just to see if we can get those sliders up from, I normally have them down at the 1 settings, and that's kind of what I've trained to work with. But I'll throw a bunch of light punches here as we kind of talk about these settings, and we should see the multipliers go up above 1. I'm going to have to be defensive here because I'm not knocking them down with these light punches. Now, one of the issues some people might complain about the kind of auto adjust mass multiplier is if you are punching really hard but missing the weak points, you won't be getting a knockdown, even though you're punching really hard. And that might then cause you to just try to punch even harder. And in that case, what you're telling the auto calibration to do is reduce your mass multiplier because you're just punching harder and harder. And if you're not careful, that can lead you to some injury as you really punch hard at the air with nothing stopping your punches but your own body. So the mass multiplier can actually be really helpful for those who want to avoid injury by not really punching at their full force in the air, but still want to have, a playable experience, being able to knock people down. That auto calibration can be your friend for sure, because it'll adjust things to work well with the forces that you're putting out. Now, one of the reasons I don't actually always play with the auto adjustment on is because I want that kind of constant benchmark feedback. So if I'm having a weak day, if I'm throwing a bunch of weak punches, I don't want it to forgive me for that. I kind of want that feedback. But I've only taken it off after getting a sense for where it sits for me after, some pretty hard calibration, or pretty hard punching to calibrate that. So at this point, I know I've been able to train my right hook to work at a mass multiplier of 1, but it might be different for you, depending on what your body size is, what your strength is. Just take a look at where the auto calibration is landing for you. One other thing to note is that if you're switching between different users in Thrill of the Fight on the same headset, it might take a few rounds for the auto adjust to recalibrate to your punch force compared to someone else. But it probably won't take too long, so you don't have to worry too much. And then if you know your force, you can just set it manually. So we're coming to the end of the round. I've done some pretty light punching. We should see the mass multipliers cranked up by the auto adjust setting. Let's go take a look. Okay, so yeah, at the very least, the hook mass multiplier went up to 1.5 compared to where I normally have it at 1 because I was pulling my hooks. So why don't we put it back onto adjust automatically, and we'll do one more round. And in this round, I'll try hard, and it should bring that mass multiplier back down to 1. So we'll do the same fighter on Outclassed, and let's go hard. We should see the mass multiplier come down. Now, because the mass multiplier is set at 1.5, this will be relatively easy for me going at kind of full power. So we might be able to just TKO him in this round. He's got good head movement getting away from those uppercuts where I'm searching to knock him down. Oh, I got greedy. Okay. Good reaction from him. Bit of head movement. Whoop. Yeah, I'm really going for this knockdown. Leaving myself open. Well, at the very least, we're getting some good hard punches in for calibration purposes. Swinging for the fences there. There we go. Just found our way in with that uppercut. He's good at that lateral head movement. Gets away from my uppercut. There we go. Let's see if we can TKO this round to keep it short. All right, well, good enough. So I'm pretty confident we'll see the mass multiplier come down. Yeah, so there, we're back down to 1. Well, hopefully that helps explain mass multiplier and why you may or may not want to take it off auto adjust. Cheers.